I bought some of the worst and best airsoft guns from Amazon. And in today's video, we're going to test them all out and see if these super cheap airsoft guns are worth buying. And then of course, at the end of the video, we're going to rate them from worst to best. We're going to be starting with the cheapest airsoft gun up first in today's video, and then of course, work our way up to the most expensive throughout the video. The first airsoft gun in today's video is the Walther P22 Special Operations Pistol. It has a 3.8 stars on Amazon with over 3,000 reviews. And it costs $19.89. As you can see, it comes in one of these super indestructible clear plastic cases, and it comes with a bottle of blue BBs and an extra magazine. According to the box, it shoots 260 FPS, which is correct only when you're using 0.12 gram BBs, which no one even uses. But when it comes to 0.2 gram BBs, what does it actually shoot? Well, as you can see from our chronograph test, it is only shooting 170 to 175 FPS with 0.2 grams. Definitely not the best I've ever seen. This pistol probably has one of the most insane claims I've ever heard on an airsoft box. As you can see right here, it says not a toy and adult supervision is required, which is pretty normal. Read the owner's manual before using, blah, 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 blah. But now this is where things start to get pretty interesting. Maybe dangerous up to 100 yards / 91.44 meters, which is absolutely an insane claim. So I guess there's only one more thing left to do. We definitely have to test this thing out and see if that claim is correct. But real quick, before we do that, let's go ahead and read a good review and a bad review from people that have actually bought this on Amazon. The good review is from Jonathan Simpson, and he rates it a 5-star. And he says, I love this thing. Great for my Halloween costume as a special forces. Wait. Okay, first of all, don't use airsoft guns as costumes for Halloween. That's a terrible idea. Jonathan, you are a crazy man. Looks good, shoots good, works great on trespassers. Those kids will never egg my house again. Jonathan, who hurt you? Who egged your house? I have so many questions. 1 million out of 10 stars. It's amazingly accurate. I am literally not even making this up. This is literally from Amazon. That's crazy. The bad review is from Eric M, and he rates it a 1 out of 5 stars. He says, piece of junk, will be returning, not worth the shipping, which is free. Ooh, yikes, that's a burn. This #1 bestseller is a piece of junk, and I am surprised Walther let Umarex put their name on this. Yes, it's a cheap Springer, but once you cock the gun back, which is nearly impossible by the way, the pellet just rolls out of the barrel without even pulling the trigger. Well, according to him, this thing doesn't even work at all. So let's test it out. You guys see those like circle concrete slab kind of things? Well, that's where 100 yards is. And my confidence this little guy is gonna hit that is very low. Let's go ahead and see what it does. Whoa! I really did not expect this thing even to make it like maybe 30 feet, so I'm actually pretty surprised right now. I think the BBs are landing somewhere right here, so actually not too bad. We're almost halfway to the little cement right there.
But does the accuracy pair up? Not quite. Sure, you can sling the BB that far away, but you're definitely not going to hit someone. Even at about 50 feet away, we still had a big struggle. We had to aim super far down to the left of the target just to hit some on the actual target itself. The iron sights are definitely not lined up whatsoever to where it actually shoots. If you somehow made the iron sights correct, the accuracy actually isn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's definitely not going to really get anyone out on the field. Unless you're very, very close.
The second airsoft gun in today's video is the SIG-1 MPX. It comes in at $41.99. It comes in a super plain cardboard box and comes with a bonus P226 pistol, but we won't be needing that. This package on Amazon is rated 4 stars and has over 3,700 reviews. And this thing has a pretty solid claim on the FPS department. On the box, it claims 300 FPS. So first off, let's actually see if they're right.
Ha, nope, what a surprise. We did our test with 0.2 grams, maybe they meant 0.12 grams with 300 FPS, but still not very high.
For the good reviews, I chose a very simple one that sums this one up very quick. And it's from David Lamberg, and he says, surprisingly accurate, and rates it a 5-star. Well, that's pretty confidence inspiring. This thing should be shooting pretty good then. But the 1-star review from Dina Robeson says otherwise. She did not have a good time with this one. She said, we bought this for our son for his birthday. He was so excited we opened it, read about it, and everything. He loaded it up and went to pull back since it's spring loaded and it would not fire. We thought we were doing something wrong, so we reread the instructions, but it literally just came broke and would not work. It was so disappointing. Dang, this thing ruined a kid's birthday party? That is not off to a good start. And the other 1-star review is from Pamela J. Pink. And she says, very simply, we bought 2 of these. One of them broke within the first 45 minutes of use. So not the most reliable these are, I guess. But of course, that's up for us to test. So let's go ahead and check it out and see if this thing is shooting accurately or it's a complete piece of junk.
So we first started with putting our target at 50 feet away. And honestly, the accuracy wasn't too bad. The only big issue is the iron sights are definitely not accurate to where the airsoft gun is actually shooting whatsoever. We did a second test at about 125 feet away, and it was definitely way harder to hit the target. The range was definitely there, but the accuracy was absolutely terrible. But we did manage to hit a few shots. And at this point, we probably shot about 10 to 20 shots. But then the bad stuff started happening. I noticed that the airsoft gun would start to actually misfeed and not feed every single shot now. And also, if you cock back the bolt and point the airsoft gun downward, the BB will roll out of the barrel. But taking in all the data for $30, I'd say this is a decent buy for a backyard toy. But definitely would not recommend this to be on the field.
The next airsoft gun up is the GFAP 13 airsoft pistol. Yeah, you heard me right. It's called the GFAP 13. Definitely a weird name. Okay, technically it's probably called the GF AP13, but GFAP is definitely more funny. This pistol comes in a small cardboard box, and guess who's back? It's Timmy!
I'm back. I will have my revenge.
And this pistol is fully electric. So in the box, you get the battery and charger. And to load up the battery is actually pretty interesting, but this is how it works. You basically take off the slide with this little button at the back. Once that's off, there is a little tiny insert where the battery goes and slides right in. And this little guy is not cheap. It comes in at $74.51, which almost puts this thing at gas blowback airsoft pistol prices. So that means this thing better shoot pretty damn good to justify the price. It's equipped with a 30-round mag, definitely pretty interesting as you can see right here. Definitely not in the shape of a real pistol magazine. It's basically just a little tiny metal stick that holds BBs, but I guess it works. According to the box, it should shoot 250 FPS. We'll see about that.
With 0.2 grams, we're getting over 50 FPS less than we should.
And not only does this thing shoot semi-automatic, it also has full auto. So let's go ahead and test the RPS as well. Wow, okay, not bad. 12.5. And real quick, before we go on to the good and bad reviews, I saw a very interesting little warning label on the Amazon website before I was about to buy it. It says, frequently returned item. Check the product details and customer reviews to learn more about this item. That definitely does not make me too confident about this one, but let's see what the reviews say. The good review is from Jeff, and he rates it a 5 out of 5 stars. I was going to title this review excellent for the money, but this thing is just plain excellent. It gets the job done pretty perfectly. The accuracy and consistency is good. The weight and balance is good, the full auto mode is outstanding, and just is a great gun all around. Will more expensive guns have unique features? Sure, but this AEG is a solid choice at any price. Well done, Game Face / Crossman. Okay, Jeff definitely set the bar pretty dang high. Now let's read some bad reviews. Rolo O says 1 out of 5 stars, worked for 50 shots, then it stopped firing. And Justin Thiesel rates it a 1 out of 5 stars as well and says, don't purchase, very disappointing. This is our second time purchasing this airsoft gun and we had identical results. The gun shoots a few rounds and dies. This was a very disappointing Christmas gift for our son. What is it with these airsoft guns ruining everyone's Christmas? We followed the instructions and charged the battery for 8 hours. The gun shot less than 1 magazine and then the battery died. We returned the gun and purchased a second time with identical results. Don't waste your time. Well, I guess another Christmas is ruined. Let's go ahead and test it and see how it does. We definitely have some things to test out. So first, basically this thing doesn't work at all and a couple shots and the battery will die or the motor will fail or something like that. So we'll go ahead and do a whole magazine to test that theory. And then the second review said that this thing failed after 50 shots. So let's go ahead and see if that's right. Let's do a few shots and semi back and see how it is. All right, that's a whole mag. All right, now let's do a full auto mag and then one more full auto mag just to make sure this thing actually still works. That's the whole mag. One more, let's do it. Now that we have debunked those myths, let's actually go ahead and scoot back and do a proper range and accuracy test to see what the real strength this guy is.
First, we started with a 75-foot test, and straight away the accuracy looked okay, but the range was super bad. The BBs weren't even able to make it on the target. Even after trying to adjust the hop up, I didn't really see any changes. Hopefully, maybe it just needs time to break in, but out of the box, the hop up doesn't do anything.
I'm basically aiming to the head or above the target just to hit them at about 50 feet away. But of course, to make up our sorrows of paying $75 for some trash, let's go ahead and do some full auto, because at least we have that to look forward to. Another one. Well, at least the fall is pretty good. Obviously, that good review hyped this thing up way too much. I don't know if it's really worth $75.
Just adding another $10 to $25 to your budget, you can get a way better electric or gas airsoft pistol.
For the next airsoft gun, it is again an electric one. But for this one, we took it up a notch and now we have a full-scale submachine gun. This is the Game Face, get ready for this, ASRGTH. Thompson. The naming system they use for these airsoft guns is definitely getting out of hand. This one has the best rating so far. On Amazon, it is rated 4.4 stars, with, at the date of this video, 2,684 reviews. It costs $84.95, which compared to that pistol could be a promising deal. In the package, you get this insane 800 round drum mag and everything you need to operate it like a battery and charger. One thing I thought was super quirky is the design for the battery. Not only do you attach the battery— that was scary. That barrel just like yelled at me. Like many airsoft guns, you're supposed to plug the battery in the stock compartment to the Tamiya connectors. But with this one, you also can detach the stock system, which I don't know why they did that, maybe to make it easier to ship or something like that. But nevertheless, basically the stock system has two connections on it as well as the airsoft gun itself. Once you get the battery plugged in and slide in the stock to the Thompson, the connection will be made and you're able to power up the Thompson. The first test we're going to be doing is testing the FPS because according to the box, this thing should be shooting 320 FPS. Well, not quite.
We're about 80 FPS off from our target. That is really bad.
Okay, now before we go ahead and test the range and accuracy and see if this thing actually has some good performance, let's go ahead and read some good and bad reviews. This person, I guess, didn't want to be named. The name is just Amazon customer, but they rate it 5 out of 5 stars. They said, fun rifle, I got one for all my friends and they enjoy plinking with it instead of the more expensive options. Wow, we definitely need to be friends with this guy. He buys all of his friends' airsoft guns. He says, accurate, good hop up, wakes up with a 11.1 volt LiPo with plenty of battery space, but there's no MOSFET, so might burn out the trigger contacts. Okay, that's crazy. This cheap of an airsoft gun with a 11.1 volt LiPo, pretty sure that's gonna destroy this thing. But of course, there's only one way to figure out.
But before we go ahead and do that, let's go ahead and read what people were saying negatively about this Thompson.
With this one, I didn't really want to take one particular bad review and read it, so I went ahead and kind of summarized the 3 main key points that people are complaining about this one. For the first one, people are basically saying they're getting lemons and it's not even shooting outside the box. The second complaint is every 1 in 4 or every 1 in 5 shots actually feeds. So basically feeding problems, and sometimes it jams as well. And the last claim people are saying is it only lasts about 200 to 300 shots. Let's see first if this thing is a lemon. Hey! Nope, it works. And it also looks like it's feeding all the BBs as well. And the last test is it won't last past 200 to 300 shots. So as you can see right here, I took 2 speed loaders and loaded those all up into the magazine. So that's about 200 shots. And I also loaded some extras up as well. So we have somewhere between 200 and 300 shots in the magazine. But of course, I'll speed up for you guys and I'll tell you guys if it survived at the end. That's all of the shots, and it works just fine. All right, our friend is off to a pretty good start, passing all of the tests, but there's one more I want to test. And of course, that's putting a 11.1 volt LiPo in it. So, good luck, my friend. I hope you survive. That is way faster. Not too shabby, actually, damn. Let's test the RPS now. Wow, it is way faster. Now we're getting 14.5 rounds a second. I'm actually quite curious to see if this thing will keep surviving with a 11.1 volt LiPo in it. So for the range and accuracy test, let's actually keep this bad boy in there.
Finally, a good airsoft gun. We did an accuracy test at 75 feet and had some super good results.
The iron sights are a little bit to the left of where the actual airsoft gun is shooting. I don't know what's wrong with all these airsoft guns, why all of the iron sights are off significantly. It's so weird. Let's do a full auto burst while we're at it as well. Damn, that is crazy. We just adjusted the hop up. It's this little wheel right here. Seems to be working pretty well. We're about 125 feet away from the target. Let's see how it does. Full auto is a little bit easier to hit since it's so many BBs at once, so let's try some automatic. Obviously the accuracy is nothing to write home about, but relatively for something at this cost, it's not too bad either. And it lasted a 11.1 volt LiPo for a long time with a whole bunch of full auto bursts, so pretty surprising honestly. Definitely the best one of the video so far. The next one up is a bolt action airsoft sniper rifle. It comes in at $99.95 and comes in this sealed cardboard box with a slide off design. And of course lots of styrofoam revealing its two different halves. You just put the upper and lower together and use the provided Allen keys to screw them together. And might I add, it comes with a scope that is battery powered, surprisingly. Oh yeah, and by the way, it's called the BB-Tac M62. And I couldn't find anywhere on the Amazon listing what the FPS out of the box is supposed to be. But it does claim on the listing it has extreme powerful FPS with a 0.20 gram BB. I'm not sure what exactly extreme powerful FPS really means, but I guess let's go ahead and test it out. Damn, okay, 473.9 with over 2 joules.
I wouldn't say extreme powerful unless it's over like 500 FPS, but definitely decent results for a stock sniper.
Before we go ahead and test out the accuracy and range of this airsoft rifle, let's go ahead and read some good and bad reviews. The 5 out of 5 star review comes from Carolinian, and they said the included scope is just basically a prop, so don't use it. I mounted a simple scope, and after zeroing it in, I found this to be accurate at 50 feet outside within 3 inches. Okay, pretty promising results, but of course 50 feet is not too much for a sniper rifle though, but we'll test it out. But of course, before we do that, let's go ahead and read the bad review. Jack Bacon rates it a 1 out of 5 stars and says not worth the money. The product jams frequently and the accuracy is a joke. I'm jamming at over 50% and I'm ready to feed the trash bin with this. Wow, okay, definitely some conflicting reviews here. One of them says the accuracy is really good and the other person says the accuracy is a joke. So I guess there's only one way to figure it out. Let's go ahead and test it out. All right, we are 50 feet away. We have to get a grouping of 3 inches or less. Let's see how it does. Let's do a test shot with the red dot sight and see if this thing is even working.
Nice.
Okay, so the red dot sight slash scope is not even close to being on target.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
So we're gonna have to aim just the old-fashioned way on the side of our head. Let's see if this works well. Oh, yep, 3 inches grouping, not too bad. Definitely pretty easy to get 3 inches at 50 feet away. All right, we are well over 150 feet away. Let's see if this thing can hit some shots.
Oh no!
We didn't have any crazy jamming or misfeeding issues like some of the reviews said, but I took a whole bunch of shots at 150 feet and the BBs were overhopping like crazy, even on 3.2 gram BBs. The range was definitely there, but the accuracy didn't seem to match up. I did not have a zeroed in scope, so bear in mind that could be affecting the results, but just from the shots I took and with my naked eye, the BBs didn't seem to be too consistent. At this price point, I would probably suggest other brands.
Up next, we finally have something pretty serious. This is the Umarex H&K 416 AG rifle. Of course, it looks serious until you see what the package looks like. When airsoft guns come in these crazy invisible plastic clear packaging, it usually means one thing: trash. But who knows, we might be surprised. After manhandling this package with scissors and giving my forearms a workout, I got it open. This 416 comes in at $105 and has over 2,000 reviews on Amazon with a 4.3 star rating. And to put the cherry on top, this one actually has one of the best 5-star to 1-star ratios in the video. Well, let's see what the people have to say about it. First up, let's start with a good review, and this is a 5 out of 5 stars. They said, I've been playing airsoft for about 6 years now and I've moved on to way high quality guns. But this may be one of the best beginner guns made. It was my first gun and I purchased it for $89. $89? I got it for $105. Inflation. I shot thousands upon thousands of rounds out of it with no issues. I played countless games with no issues as well. I even fell directly on top of it 3 separate times and not a scratch. It still works to this day and it has outlasted many of my more expensive replicas. If you are a beginner to airsoft, look no further and buy this gun. Wow, that is a solid 5-star review. This thing's definitely got a lot to live up to now. From the bad review, it's from Andy Pitta. He rates it a 1 out of 5 stars and says, I would not recommend this for an airsoft beginner. The product is made of bad plastic. It barely reaches 120 FPS, and he says if you actually use it in an airsoft game, he says the other person won't even feel it. And he does not recommend this to anyone that wants to start playing airsoft. Yeah, that's a tough review. And we have a couple more bad reviews while we're at it as well. Baron S rates it a 1 out of 5 stars and says the product didn't work, it's flimsy garbage. And if I could give it 0 stars, I would, but as stated, do not buy this. And from Jamie B, he also rates it a 1 star and says, my gun would not shoot, and when it would only shoot upside down. down. Upside down, what? The display of this gun is nice, but I don't want to spend $110 for a gun not to shoot. Why do these reviews conflict each other so much? It's like people are buying completely different airsoft guns from each other. One person gets super lucky, another person gets super unlucky. I have no idea.
Off the bat, the airsoft gun shot with no issues, so straight away that debunks that issue. But as you can see with 0.20 grams, you could see that we're getting 70 to 80 FPS lower than it claims on the box. And the RPS wasn't too great either at just over 8. Our testing started to take a good turn of events when we started to do the 75-foot test.
All right, well, of course, another airsoft gun where the iron sights are definitely pretty off, but it looks like to be pretty decently accurate at about 75 feet. Let's test out the full auto. Very nice.
But at 125 feet, it started to struggle a little bit. The 416 did okay, pretty close performance to the Thompson. The one thing I thought the Thompson did way better was the hop-up system.
The hop-up is interesting with this one. It's not very linear like the Thompson. This one either goes like super up hop or super down hop. So the hop-up system I didn't really like versus the Thompson.
Now, of course, we have to test that first review. This is going to be the most fun and important test of all. How reliable is it after some falls?
First, let's start with something easy like some dirt. Oh, well, the buttstock came off, but that shouldn't be a big deal. Yep, works like it should. All right, now level 2, let's go with a little barrel. Ooh, that one was a little bit worse. Got some dirt in the barrel, but still feeds. And level 3, we have the car. If it survives this, I'd be pretty damn surprised. Yikes, Scoob. Oh, well, the battery's split in half. That's not good. Damn. Let's go ahead and unplug that. And now, because I'm afraid of using this battery, let's go ahead and top it off with a 11.1 volt LiPo and see if it survives that. If it survives this, this thing is pretty durable. Nice. Damn, that RPS is crazy with 11.1. 15.9 rounds a second. That's very impressive. Well, it looks like it survived 11.1 and 3 stages of throwing it, so I think this one's a pass. Last but certainly not least in today's video, not only do we have an airsoft gun, we have a whole package of them. That's right, guys, this is the BB Tech Airsoft Gun Package, and it's called the Dark Ops Collection, including a spring rifle, a shotgun, SMGs, and pistols. It costs $119.97 and is rated 4 stars with over 2,000 reviews. Is this the deal of the century on Amazon, or is this package filled with useless garbage? Let's go ahead and see what the people are saying. The good review is from Bradley Kenzie, and he rates it a 5 out of 5 star. 6 nice guns for a great price. All are pretty tough except for the AR style. The 2 small pistols in the shotgun will probably outlast civilization. I think I'm pronouncing this right, but the bad review is from Tallahassee Lassie. That's a fun name. They rate it a 1 out of 5 stars and say it broke within 2 hours. I'm 14 years old. Okay, the name makes sense now. There is quite a lot of bad reviews for this airsoft package. But if I were to sum up all the reviews, it's basically saying 2 or 3 of the airsoft guns always break out of the package. So the reliability is just not there. And the ones that don't break are extremely inaccurate. The reviews are definitely not making this package sound any good. So let's go ahead and test them all out and see how they do.
We started off the test with the Chrono. The pistols had absolutely terrible FPS at around 145. The Uzis had a little bit more at around 185. But then the rifle took things up 100 FPS and shot around 285 FPS. But even more than that, surprisingly, the shotgun gave around 340.
Damn.
Definitely very impressive.
That's pretty crazy.
But now let's go ahead and shoot them and see the results.
Oh. Okay. Wow, accuracy is actually really good, but the range is not there whatsoever. But as you can see, when we scoot up to about 30 feet, the accuracy is actually pretty damn good with this one. And it was the same for the black one as well. And according to the reviews, these things are supposed to be indestructible and survive the apocalypse. So let's see if that's true. Oh. That definitely didn't pass. I was expecting that to be a little bit more strong, to be honest.
Then I went to the Uzis and found they were pretty bad.
Let's do one and see how the accuracy is. Ooh, the range is not too good. I think this has even worse range than the pistols, and this is an SMG. Definitely hard to cock these back too. Yikes. There we go.
But once I went to the shotgun, this is where things started to get really interesting.
Hey!
I was very impressed with the range and accuracy.
Those barrels are like 120 feet away. That's pretty impressive for this thing. But is it tough? Let's see if it survives the drop test. Oh yeah, this one probably could survive anything. Yeah, no problem.
Everything was great with this one, and this thing even survived a couple nice falls. Definitely pretty indestructible.
Final test if this thing's reliable. Yeet! Wow. Ha! Yeah, this thing is indestructible.
Last but not least, going to the rifle, it was very impressive as well with the accuracy and range. It had similar results to the shotgun, obviously, besides the lack of FPS. But overall, out of all the airsoft guns in this package, the shotgun was definitely the best. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. We're going to be using the famous tier list to rank them. This list will take into consideration the price, performance, and the reliability. S means it's a buy, A means you can shortlist it to buy, B is worth the money, C is okay, and F tier is trash. First, let's start with the cheapest of the video with the Walther P22. This little guy shot okay, but definitely nothing impressive. I'd say it's a C tier. The MPX I wanted to rate higher, but it started to develop some issues, so I'm gonna have to rate this a C tier. But without these issues developing, I definitely would have rated a B tier. For the GF pistol, I wish it was a bit cheaper because then it'd be an easy B tier, but considering the price, I'd say it's between a B and C tier. The Thompson was a great airsoft gun for the money. I'd definitely say it's an S tier in today's video. It checked all the boxes and was definitely worth the money. The sniper was okay, but the hop-up was absolutely crazy, making it really hard to hit shots. I wish I had a scope that was zeroed in to maybe see if it had some potential, but I don't know, from what I was seeing, I'd probably rate it between a C and F tier. The 416 was great also, but didn't have quite the performance or the hop-up system as the Thompson did. So I'm gonna have to rate this one a A tier. And last but certainly not least, the 6-gun Black Ops package. This one was definitely the hardest to rate as there was such different results with the different airsoft guns. But I'd say overall, if you want to play with some airsoft guns in your backyard with your friends, I'd say it's kind of worth the money. So we're gonna be rating it a B tier.
Testing out these crazy cheap airsoft guns is definitely one of my favorite ones to make. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, check out this one I personally recommend you watch if you enjoyed this one. And of course, if that one doesn't tickle your fancy, here's one that YouTube personally recommends you watch. Without further ado, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one.